All right, baby. TTCM, you are the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. Is that right, sir?
It is. I am a little cheap. I do pinch pennies when it comes to spending. So both of those work pretty good.
That's good, man. Good for investors, baby. All right, so let's get to it, man. All right, so the number one thing is always talked about when you do $ TTCM. Some people scared about the amount of amount of what 3 billion that you got there, and how long the float's going to take to get through and stuff like that. There's been communication that the CEO has said that there will be no reverse split ever. Are you able to talk about that a little bit, how we can overcome that for investors as you're in the penny field now and you're out into the pennies rising every day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, for somebody going into a position of a COO or a CEO, even traders, the best thing to do or that you should do is understand what the capital markets are for. It's essentially raising money. You're building a product. You look at all these companies like Amazon, Walmart, Ford, any of these larger companies, look at the amount of debt that they carry. Granted, they have, decades ahead of us. They have tons of revenue, but debt is what fuels these capital markets. So in order to build a product, of course, we had to seek capital from individual investors, as well as some of these, larger, lenders. But I think, getting to a point where our app is now generating revenue, as that continues to grow, we will, as we can, buy back stock off the open market. That is what I believe that any strong company could or should do. You see that, there's record buybacks across, the last 3, 4, 5 years in the regular stock market. Why can't a penny stock that made it through that debt phase and got to a revenue stage buy back stock? That is my ultimate goal. I mean, I know a lot of people are quick to say, they throw around that scam word, dilution machines, things like that. But the people that use that phrase, do they understand what the capital markets are actually for? Tautachrome is utilizing the capital markets for its very purpose. So, we get to a stage, like I said, we have revenue, then we buy those shares back. So that's why I think, sure, we have a couple billion shares outstanding, but over time, I believe we'll buy those back as we can and then reduce the share structure, and then we move forward. So that is really the long-term goal.
Absolutely. So, short-term, your company is moving up very quickly. You reached a penny. You're almost at 2 pennies at any moment. You have a little bit of resistance. We're not here to talk about that and what you're trying to get to, but it's pretty impressive how the market is moving up the margins a little bit. It's going to be a long-term plan here, but I'm sure you guys have some visions. ARknet is your baby. ARknet is your baby. On July 16th, this past week, ARknet submitted 1.5.7 to Android and iOS. Is that right? And previous versions have always also been sent to Google. Is that right?
Yeah. So these we developed the app. We didn't just go with iOS or just Android. We developed both platforms in tandem with each other that share kind of a same line of code. So when we make adjustments to one, it also affects the other. This way, if a user's on iOS, they can also interact with people that are on Android. So since we started, we've actually had 33 additional app builds into the Play Store. So 33 upgrades that we've seen since we started out, last year. So we're making incredible progress. Anybody who's seen the app, when we first came out versus what it looks like and how it functions now, it is a whole new app compared to where we started. So we've made incredible progress.
Yeah, and you can see that at ARknet. You have somebody had recorded a version of it, so you can see it scrolling through and stuff like that. Is it? You have over 200 reviews, almost 300 reviews on Apple, and you almost got 5-star reviews on there. And what your big claim to fame? You can correct me if I'm wrong. Your claim to fame is Main Street and helping small businesses keep operational 24/7. Maybe that's one of your claim to fame. Obviously, you have more, but that's one big one for a time when we're in COVID and businesses are struggling to stay open. This is putting them in the front and center of people. Can you talk to us a little bit about Main Street?
Yeah, of course. So mainstreet.shopping, which is the name and the website, that is our business vertical. So essentially, a small business, they can log into ARknet and they can create a geolocated physical store or geolocated digital storefront. So essentially, an augmented reality 3D object floats outside your place of business, or no pin if you're at home business. And inside there you have your products for sale. You have shipping built in, automatic tax calculations. But if you look at Amazon, how well has Amazon done with COVID? I mean,
Right.
Their earnings are incredible.
Right.
But
Yeah.
look what Amazon takes for a fee. I mean, for my personal business, I used Amazon for services. They take 20% off the top of what you're taking in. I mean, that is a huge take. But you look at what we're doing, credit card processing with all the services we offer and our platform fee is about 5%. So small businesses can take advantage and join their local community of businesses and pay smaller fees, but have products for sale 24/7. So if I go in there and I go to where you live, I teleport my location to where you are, I can actually see within my geo radius all the small businesses in your town. I can literally shop your entire town from one place. There's no what's their website, do they have a website, where can I find this company? All these small businesses can have a shop on one spot. So you're actually able to shop remotely or shop in person, actual entire communities. So if you have a favorite place you can go, like, New Hampshire, I got a favorite town, New Hampshire. I could quote unquote teleport my geolocation there and shop their little main street. So there is.
What are you doing? What are you doing as a company to make your business known to small town America, to small businesses? How are you trying to grab their attention and fill these voids where you might get 2 or 3 businesses in an area that might have 100, 200 businesses? How do you plan on working to capture that in long term?
So I think the biggest thing to start off with is going to be community saturation. So if you were to run ads, across the entire country, I may end up with 3 in Los Angeles, 1 in Nebraska. But we're going to we have a starting sales team or sales force. We have some on foot sales guys. So we're looking to target 20 areas across the country and saturate those individual communities, make them known what we're doing, why we're there, the benefits we provide. And as we start signing on those individual businesses, we're going to run targeted ads and maybe even physical ads in those communities and surrounding areas. Not only talking about Main Street, but also highlighting those small businesses that are coming online in our community. So it's about, promoting the community of businesses more so than actually promoting Main Street. So we have shorter term and longer term goals. But next week we'll have probably shipping inside the app as well. Automated shipping and printing. You can print labels, right from the app for packages you're sending out. So that'll be next week, and we're getting ready to gear up for that as well.
So financially speaking, just in terms of marketing and stuff like that, I assume that you have revenue set aside to try to tackle these areas, and I assume that you're going to try. Are you trying to get more urban areas first, obviously, because there are more businesses in small areas? Is that your goal, or what's where you at with that?
Well, it's a big mix of both. So revenue coming in, I mean, we're not generating a whole lot. We're just starting to populate, Main Street with the shops, or ARknet with these shops. We have self-funded a lot of this. My private company has also put up, a good amount of capital to keep moving us forward. But we'll keep pushing along with that, and then we'll keep expanding as we go. But revenue will increase, as we bring more online. So even if you have 5,000 businesses doing only $100 a day, if you do the math, just for that many businesses, that's over $3 million in revenue for our company with a small amount of companies. So imagine if you got 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 businesses doing even small amounts per day, those revenue figures really add up for us.
Oh, no doubt. One of the things that really attracted me to your company initially when people started talking about you, Main Street was really attracted. That was the second thing. The first thing for me and for my kids was the inside ARknet viewer, the 3D object scans. Yep. That was pretty awesome. And by the way, guys, there's a lot of people commenting on here that they're in Weeple, they can't trade OTC. I'm bringing a product to you. It's not only a stock, okay, guys? I'm trying to tell you a little bit about what's going on because we are consumers as a whole. So tell me a little bit about the 3D object scans, because that is freaking amazing, man. And ADHD, man, that talks to me, baby. Talk to me.
Yeah, so 3D object scans, I mean, that is incredible on its own. Augmented reality is really in a starter phase. And if you think about what AR will do for you, I mean, when it comes to buying furniture or picking hardware or cabinets, I mean, it's really going to be and work its way into every point of our life in the next even 5 or 10 years. So with object scanning, imagine being you sell knickknacks or antiques. So I mean, the devices now for scanning, they're not fantastic and get mixed results, even if you use laser scanners.
Sure.
But imagine being a small business owner and you have a little antique desk clock, and you use your cell phone and you scan this antique desk clock, and it gives you a 3D scan of this object. Now that's inside your store. So if I'm a buyer and I'm going through your products and I click on that clock and I bring it into augmented reality and I put that clock on my nightstand or on my end table, and I'm able to view that clock, how it looks in my living room before I even buy it. So that's a lot where shopping is headed, for augmented reality, whether it be sneakers or dresses or clocks. I mean, like I said, it's going to invade essentially every facet of our life.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive, man. And I think that that's something to look out for. On along the lines of that, you may not be able to. I'm not asking you if this is happening. I'm not asking you. Don't get this question mixed up, okay? I'm not asking for a direct answer. I'm just asking for a hypothetical. Is it your goal to at some point to acquire companies along the way to continue to build yourself up, or be acquired? Like, do you even have a long-term goal? I'm talking about 5, 10, 15 years from now. Or is this something where you want to be your own thing and make everybody want your product, and this is your product that no one else can do? What's the deal with that?
I think it's a mix. If you look at like what Facebook has done, what Google does, a lot of times they'll buy up competitors and either incorporate them or they'll crush and silence them. And you look, Google recently bought a smart glass company, and then they disappeared. So I'd rather not get bought up, because we may get bought up and somebody just sticks us on a shelf somewhere for a rainy day. What I believe ARknet is as a whole is fundamentally it's a world-changing platform. Whether you're talking about business or travel or even the eternal memorials we have, people are able to communicate, create, and share on a level that none of these other platforms have been able to provide. Whether it be Facebook or Twitter, I mean, those places are turning into, I don't want to call them toxic environments, but they're really meme book with a bunch of toxic politics mixed in. So given the ability for people to create and share is something on a whole. We may get offers down the road as we get to a point where we can't be ignored. We may get offers from Facebook or from Google or Apple looking to come into our space because of what we're doing. But it's important to realize that ARknet isn't really an app. It's a platform. So if you look at ARknet as a platform and take Main Street, for example, that's a vertical or brand inside of ARknet. But also look at real estate and Eternals Memorials and Travel Pin. Each of these are almost essentially different communities or functions inside of our app. Now, if you think about something like Uber or app like Waze, you could take that entire Waze or Uber app and literally make it a function inside of ARknet. So ARknet as a whole, when you talk about acquiring companies, also has the ability to either foster and incubate additional features or apps inside of our platform, but also gobble up smaller ones and make them features inside the platform. So longer term, I expect that we'll expand as far as what we do. I would love to grow a company. I mean, a lot of this first startup stuff is stressful. I take a lot of arrows. I take a lot of beating for what we're doing. So I'd like to experience some of the fun stuff before we start having, offers and hostiles coming at us from all different directions.
Yeah, no, I know it's hard to be, the new kid on the block doing big things. It sort of is what it is. Patents, excuse me. I don't want to cross the line of anything that you have to put out in the PR, but I noticed scanning everything that you had some patent come out this week or the past week and stuff like that. You guys are continuing to roll out patents on a regular basis. Are you able to share with anything about any of those patents that you have already, or
yeah, sure thing. So Tautachrome has actually 5 granted patents currently. They involve mostly the CLIXY imagery technology, which is our trustable imagery and talk to the picture technology, which actually is being incorporated inside of ARknet. The 2 additional patents that are patent pending, we actually just filed one more today, which has to do with augmented reality communities. That's a pretty cool one. You'll see some stuff about that. So those 2 are actually owned by myself and my company, and I've licensed that IP and the concept to Tautachrome to use that to build ARknet.
This is amazing. And can you talk about CLIXY a little bit?
So Clixie is pretty fantastic. That's actually why I got into Tautachrome in the first place.
Okay.
So Clixie, essentially, when you take a picture or insert a picture with our platform, that imagery is watermarked, and you put a few layers of steganography in that image, invisible marking. With our now encrypted messaging, those images are being assigned a user key. So it gives you ownership of those images. Now imagine taking this technology and putting it into like a regular smartphone camera. You take a picture, it's immediately hit with layers of steganography, invisible watermarking. You can put GPS data, timestamp, all that metadata additional that goes inside of that picture. So if you take a picture and, I took this picture of, say, what's a big, remember Trump's inauguration? The crowd was this big, the crowd was that big. What time was it? Where were you? So imagine you take a picture and it's a Clixie picture. That's the time it was. This is how many people were there. Here's the picture. It's irrefutable. It's evidence grade. So now if you were to take that picture and somebody photoshopped it or cropped it, if you change so much as a pixel on that picture, the Clixie software knows, no, that picture was altered. Here's the original. That's a fake. So, and now what's pretty cool is additional, features inside that. When you install that metadata, we have other things like talk to the picture. So say you take a picture, it goes on Facebook, ends up on Google, it's on Yahoo. So somebody that, sees a picture of your artwork or a house you're selling comes across it on Yahoo. It doesn't have your name on it, doesn't have nothing on it. But because it's a Clixie picture, you click on that photo and you'll have the option to actually have a conversation with you, the author, through the picture throughout the internet. So a direct line communications. Imagine if you're an artist or a seller. And think about the implications for business. I have a picture on Facebook. It ends up on Instagram, on Google, on this. And now one picture has made it to 10 different platforms. Now my outreach in selling that product has now reached 10 different platforms. Because you can still access the original author.
That's amazing, man. That is crazy. All right, so Clixie, is that an app in its own that I can download? Because I don't have that one yet.
No, so Clixie is actually being built into ARknet. We were building Clixie as a separate function, but when I came up with the idea of ARknet was quicker to implement the first stages and less costly. But now if you take ARknet and you combine Clixie, it quite literally makes a marriage in heaven, because you're hitting off fake news, fake imagery, stolen imagery, and you're embedding it into an actual social platform. So it becomes a perfect marriage, really.
That's amazing, man. Hold on, I apologize. I always forget to turn my lights on outside so I can read my notes. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second here.
No
All right. I got a few more follow-up questions, if you don't mind, man. This is amazing stuff, by the way. Some of the stuff I wasn't aware of. I mean, I was sort of aware, but not really.
So real quick on Clixie, there's a lot more features. If you go to my Gratitude 333, my pinned tweet actually has some information about Clixie. Take a look at those. I think you guys will be blown away at the additional features that we didn't even talk about.
That's amazing, man. I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to make a meme after we get done here, and it's going to have Kodak looking back at you and sad that they're not you. Watch this, man.
No, they're making medicine now, man. They're all good. They're good.
Yeah, man. I had no idea Kodak was still in business. I'm very proud of them, but I think you're the up and coming. Teleport, man. Teleport. The feature via lawn press to any map location. This goes back probably to what you were talking about earlier, but I just want to hit on it real quick. For remote local search, you can search anywhere from anywhere. You can create anywhere from anywhere. Do you want to touch base on that?
Yeah, of course. So there's two main components when it comes to interacting with 3D objects in our app. So if I'm sitting at my house and I'm scrolling around, I'm looking at something in Arkansas. If I summon that 3D object, essentially I draw that augmented reality 3D object from its place in Arkansas to my house in Rhode Island, and it shows up in my living room. So what somebody would see in Arkansas, I'm now seeing the rendering of that interactive 3D object in my living room. That is the summon feature. Everything in the world has an opposite. There's left and right, up and down, hot and cold. The opposite of summon is teleport. So now going backwards, I'm taking my geolocation and I'm teleporting my geolocation to Arkansas. And using my geofence radius, I'm now searching and interacting with 3D objects as if I'm in Arkansas.
Wow.
So the same thing works like if you're traveling. Like I've been to, Mexico, Haiti, those places, and using our travel pin, which is essentially You ever have one of those travel boards? You got the pins in it on your wall.
Yeah.
The travel pin is a digital version of that. So I teleport my location to say Haiti. I put one of these travel pins there. What's cool about these travel pins is you can fill these 3D objects with pictures, photos, memories. So when I place that pin there, I'm putting in, places I've been to eat, people I've met, accommodations I've stayed at, the culture I experienced, and I'm able to actually build or interact with a whole, worldwide community of all these travel pins. So I can see real user experiences of places I've been in, whether it's Antarctica or Japan or all those. So you can use teleport to visit, all these different places around the world and actually interact with objects in those local areas.
You have like this monster that you're making. You might have to take a step back every day with the ulcers you're getting because of the amount of stuff that you're about to roll out, that the world has no idea what's coming. And you must just like get sick to your stomach knowing how big this is going to be. And yet no one knows yet.
Well, so a comment I like to make is some people will get this, is out of left field. So to this point, we've made just enough noise to keep people interested. If we made too much noise at the beginning, we would get noticed by some bigger competitors and risk being snatched up or stomped out. I want to come to a point where we have this awesome platform. We literally blast it to every soul on this planet. And then by the time people like Google or Facebook realize we've come out of left field, it's too late for them.
Wow, man, this is amazing, like a sniper shot. All right, let's talk about some other stuff here, right? Online meetups, Main Street. You can initiate free videos, calls to customers, up to 50 attendees. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're looking to, we'll be at a point pretty soon where we'll be a competitor to Zoom. And what's the good term to use? It'll be impossible to not notice us.
That's pretty impressive, man.
So imagine being a small business or even a service company. So you have a service company. You guys go out there, you give quotes, you travel 40 minutes this way, 50 minutes that way. You're an agent, you do consultations. Imagine if right inside the app, somebody contacts you. Hey, can you give me a quick consultation? There you walk with them, you talk with them, you answer your questions, you're walking through their entire house. You're looking at, hey, I want this kitchen cabinet done, that done, kind of like a preliminary call. But imagine if you use that same video as a paid service. What if I'm a contractor and I have a service to where I provide DIY. So if somebody has a question on how to make a cut or something, they can contact me. You pay for 15 minutes of my time. You go through a video and I teach you how to DIY. So imagine that would apply to contractors or seamstresses or plumbers. You got a quick question? Yeah, just screw that on, throw some cement on there and you're all set. Hey, thanks, man. Have a good day.
That's amazing, man. You guys are doing an amazing job. Is there anything that I did not touch on that you want to bring to light? First of all, actually, let me back up. We need to answer that in a second, or I'll let you answer that in a second. Your full platform / app, when's the full rollout? Are we talking about a year from now, 6 months from now? When can we expect to see a lot of action within the app or within the platform?
So if a lot of people who have been following us notice that what we have right now, a lot of what we've done over the past year and a half has been to implement and build the foundational components of what we're doing. So imagine like you're building a house. We put in the foundation, we put in the wiring and the plumbing and the studding, we frame the house. And now that we have all these larger components in, we've sheetrocked it. Now we're picking out light fixtures. Now we're starting to paint the walls. So a lot of these smaller pieces that make the app sexy and appealing are now starting to be rolled out at a very rapid pace. So over the next couple months, you're going to see a very appealing, very easy to use platform that you could be 75 years old and come on here and you'd be like, oh, I know how to use this. So, and I expect, in the next few months or so, we're going to be making substantial pushes in all of our verticals. One of the biggest things will be, like we have these different brands, your real estate and events and business and memorials, but additional verticals that will be coming online. So there's always the chicken and egg problem, especially with businesses. So yeah, you got the businesses, but do you have the customers? So you look at like eBay or Amazon, it's all going there to shop. So we want people to come here to shop, but we also want people and users to come here to use us for other things, whether it be our upcoming home sync ARk, which is kind of like a tying your house all together, or sightings ARKs, which is for like your UFO hunters and your bird watchers and all that. So we're giving a user the option to shop, but also giving them their own unique experiences to utilize our app every single day, because it's social media that has actual utility and fun all mixed in.
That's awesome, man. Are you somebody's asking me to ask you, and then I'll open up the doors for some questions. Char, what were you asking? Hold on one second. She wants to know how many software engineers you have and or staff members. I assume you're a startup company, so it's all relevant to your size at the moment, but you're also building big things, and you probably have other people that you're hiring along the way. What are you working with currently? Are you able to disclose that, or?
Yeah, so Jordan Gray, he's actually our platform architect. He's essentially the contractor building the house. So when we have these development guys, you may have a guy who's good at this, a guy who's good at this, a guy who's good at this. Jordan is very keen on when to use talent, how to use talent. So we may use our AR specialists in Argentina for 15 hours this month. We may use this guy for this month, or this guy for this. So the dev guys we have going at the same time will fluctuate depending on what we're actually building or what we're working on. So it is probably as optimized as you possibly could see. If you look at like Facebook, you got 10,000 engineers or programmers working, and look what they get done. We can do a lot of the same stuff and roll out features the same way, but do it in a fraction of the time with a fraction of the people and a fraction of the cost. So it fluctuates anywhere from just a handful to 7 people working at the same time.
Got it. I'm gonna open up the line for some questions, if that's okay with you. You do have a lot of good fans. 1 second. Let me go ahead and open it up. But listen to this, guys. I'm not gonna waste David's time. It's a Friday night. I'm sure he has kids and or family. I'll open up the lines. If there's one disrespectful person, I'm gonna shut it down, and that's gonna be it for tonight. Yeah, exactly.
That's all good, man. I love the haters, because if we didn't have haters, that means our ideas suck. So
don't encourage them. Don't encourage them, because they are here. Any of your long TTCM that have any direct questions that maybe I didn't hit on, feel free to dial in. Financials overall look good for you. Is that right?
Yeah, we're good. We're solid. We got plenty of capital to keep moving forward. Like I said, on our end, my company is actually the largest debt holder of Tautachrome. So we're amply stocked, and we'll keep moving forward. But there's no cash pinches or anything in our future. We take it as we need it.
God, sorry. Who do you consider to be your competitor, and or who do you see as someone you want to pass maybe in your field?
Well, that would all depend on what vertical. So if you take like a little more morbid, but if you look at like Eternals, for example, Eternals are geolocated memorials that float over a gravestone. Essentially, this floats over a gravestone. It's got pictures, it's got memories of the deceased person, maybe a lasting message. If you look at that vertical and compare it to all these other sites out there, it quite literally blows away every single competitor on the market. So it's all going to depend on what vertical you're looking at. If you're trying to sell ARknet as a whole, that's pretty difficult. But if you're able to brand these individual verticals and market these individual verticals, all roads lead back to ARknet. So I think that question's, the answer is everyone. So whatever field we go into, I'm going to go into it to take a big market share.
We're looking forward to the upcoming months. Is there anything else that you want to share maybe that I didn't ask? I think I asked a plate full this evening, and there's some other questions coming in, but I'm not going to ask questions that may put you in a bad position. Do you have anything that you want to add tonight, David?
Follow us. We got some really awesome stuff coming, so stay tuned. If there's some questions that want to get asked, I'm all for taking them. If it's something that might be in violation, I'll just say nay, pass. But if you want to take a couple, that's cool.
Okay. No one's dialing in right now. 1 second. Let's just see what's going on. I'm going to kill you one more time, guys. Any long-term guys, I know you're in here. Let's hear your voices. Let's ask your questions. Stop typing in here and just click on and add in, and I'm glad to take the questions. David, anything else that you want to add tonight? Are you is that do a pretty good job for you?
I think that's pretty cool, man. I appreciate the time. This is awesome.
I appreciate you here on a Friday night hanging out with us traders. Someone said you used to be a big trader back in the day, so you're sleeping in the woods over here. Is that right?
So actually, I've been trading for about 20 years now. I still trade, but I enjoy trading by myself. So I trade anonymously. But I do like a lot of NASDAQ small caps and like PRPO and IDX and I trade a lot of those still, but I keep it to myself. I do very well, though.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I think the community as a whole appreciates you. And guys, again, this is a product I'm bringing to you, not necessarily a stock. It's something that you might find interest in. And, if you are an investor, you're going to be very happy in the upcoming months and years, I think. However, if you're an iOS subscriber or Android subscriber, just like they're updating to 1.5.1, 1.5.2, I think you're going to throw your phone against the wall every day. Is that right, David?
Oh yeah. Hey, can I answer that one question from Ken that just came in?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So Ken asked, why did we choose the OTC route versus venture capital or like an angel investor? If you think about, like, look at Facebook, look at Twitter, these guys took venture capital from the start, and then they IPO'd it. Facebook took, I think, it was 8 years before they IPO'd. A lot of those bigger investors and a few handful of people became rich. Mm-hmm. If you take the OTC route, yeah, it's a gauntlet. There's a whole lot of struggle to go with it. But going this way, there are thousands and thousands of people, a little person, who can get in on something that could be, potentially great. So I think we have the opportunity by taking this route to change the lives of countless families in the process, and not just enrich, a handful.
Awesome, man. Hey, listen, I got a caller on with us. Guzin, how you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Coming to you from Australia, so just picked up on the live stream here. Really interesting to find out about this company.
Yes.
So I just had a question. Obviously, a lot of the development and so forth has been done already, but I think you were saying that the development was done by third-party contractors and so forth. So do you have partners and so forth to make sure that you retain the IP of all the development that you've already done?
I didn't hear the last part of that question. Sorry.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of the value in your whole platform is based on what you're building. So the concern that I would have would be, obviously you have developers that you're using as contractors. I think you said up to 7 at a time. So isn't there a risk there associated to them obviously leaving, or obviously taking what you've already built and doing something else with it? How are you protecting that?
So it's actually one company that we are working with that has different developers as we need them. There are some other single-handed guys that are doing little bits and pieces for us, but we have a pretty solid agreement in place that if they were to take that and go do something else that we're doing, there would probably be a lot of legal issues in the path of that. But it's important to understand that these companies we're working with are in the trenches with us and have just as much to gain by our success versus going someplace else and trying to build it. So we are all in a win-win situation with success. So I truly don't have any worries there.
All right. Well, good luck and what a great platform.
Thank you.
Australia. Thank you, sir. Hey, you remember what happened with Facebook, allegedly, that they stole the idea and then they ran with it. He paid him a few $1 million and now he's a billionaire, right?
Yep.
So I'm sure you're watching your P's and your Q's off of that. I'm sure that's a business model that everybody's watching now, to make sure you're protected, right?
Of course, you have to be.
I got one more caller here, and then we'll probably he hung up. Anybody else want in? We could finish it up for an evening, and thank David here for joining us. If you are a TTCM investor and or someone who loves TTCM product and ARknet and so forth, please give this video a share so your followers can see it. I'm gonna bring William in real quick. I think he hung up by accident, and then we'll end the night here. Okay.
Yep.
Hey, William, how you doing, buddy? I'm doing good, bud. We're here with David, COO, TTCM. What questions do you have for him this evening, sir?
Just a quick question, David. I noticed back in the first of the month, y'all had posted some listings, for commission sales agents. Is that just to drive your Main Street platform just nationwide? Can you just speak about that? I mean, I live in a small town in Alabama that would be perfect for that old Main Street front, but just want to know what the purpose of that role is and what y'all hope to do with that commission sales force.
Yeah, so we are paying a pretty good premium to our commission guys. We are well spread out through the United States in about 20 areas. So we're looking to saturate individual communities to start, as opposed to a kind of a shotgun approach. We're looking at individual targeting. So if you're interested in that, of course, in Alabama, we'd love to have some representation there. So feel free to send me an email and I can send you some details. But like I said, we're looking at community saturation and getting these guys in there, telling people who we are, what we're doing, and signing up these businesses.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I appreciate that.
David, what's your email?
Yeah, it's the letter D, La Mountain, at Tautachrome.com.
And then you can look at my Twitter account. Also, I have him tagged on some tweets, so you'll be able to find him there, and you'll probably be able to tag him or message him. All right.
One last question, and with that, Stan, if it's just, can I ask that one last question?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
You know, with their new platform, with the up to 50 invitees, you know, Zoom's had an issue with it being hacked. How does your technology compare to them? Is it pretty safe for people to use where it's not hacked into and things like that?
Well, a lot of the hacking had to do with people being able to come into your meetings or waiting rooms without an invitation. So it was pretty easy to get somebody's different room invite and hop in there. They've changed a lot of that. So they've made some strides in protecting that. But Facebook is hackable, Twitter is hackable, Home Depot is hackable. So
right.
We can take every precaution in the world. But there's always a chance of something happening. But we'll try to. The biggest thing is to learn from the mistakes of all these larger competitors and not have to walk it back the way they're walking it back. Same thing with data privacy. They're trying to walk it back to data privacy, and content ownership. That's where we're starting. So you got to learn from all the mistakes out there.
Good point. Okay. Hey, I appreciate the time tonight, Stan. Thanks again for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night, William. So let me just end this conversation with you're starting with all of the big dogs' mistakes. So you're starting where they made all their mistakes so that you knock that out so you don't have those issues moving forward.
That's it, man. They've made so many mistakes. So many mistakes. Stealing data, selling your data. We don't want any of that. We want you to come to our platform, have an experience, not only own your content with, ClickSee and things like that, but not have to worry about, we're not going to listen to your phone conversations. We're not looking at your browsing history. We don't want it like that. When it comes to advertising, being that we're such a mix of in the physical as well as on the social, there are ways that businesses can expand and advertise to where it's, throughout your everyday life versus, a news feed that's an ad every 7th post. So, doing what they did wrong is where we're starting. Or not doing what they did wrong, rather.
Got it. David, appreciate your time this evening. Friday night happy hour of StanTradingMan. Hope you guys found a little value in it, if not anything more.